This is Chapter 7, The Attack on Baltimore. Washington, D.C. took 10 years to construct. It took less than one day to destroy it. Next, the British planned to attack Baltimore. Baltimore was a big city north of Washington, D.C. At the time, it was the third largest city in the United States. It was also a key port. You can see from the diagram, Baltimore is the big city and a key port in Washington, D.C., right north of Washington, D.C. Baltimore was protected from naval attack by a large fort. It was called Fort McHenry. The British focused on Fort McHenry. They hoped that if they could take the fort, they could take the city. They planned to attack the fort by land and also by sea. The people of the city were aware an attack was coming. They got ready. They piled up supplies. They set up walls. They even sank ships in the harbor to keep the British ships from getting too close to the city. All of the people in the city pitched in. Even the children helped. Here's what Fort McHenry looks like today. It's a historical site. A year earlier, the soldiers at Fort McHenry felt like they needed a flag they could fly over the fort. They asked a local woman named Mary Pickersgill to make a flag. Make it big, they told her. Make it so big that the British will be able to see it from miles away. The U.S. flag is covered with stars and stripes. Today, the U.S. flag has 50 stars and 13 stripes. Each star stands for one of the 50 states of the United States. Each stripe stands for one of the 13 original colonies. Sometimes America's flag is referred to as stars and stripes. Here's an example of the U.S. flag today. The flag that Mary Pickersgill made for Fort McHenry was different. It had 15 stars and 15 stripes. The Fort McHenry flag was different in another way, too. It was huge. Each star was 2 feet across. Each stripe was 2 feet tall and 42 feet long. Mrs. Pickersgill could not do all the stitching herself. The flag was too big. She needed help. She got her daughter to help, but she still needed more help. She had her servants help with the stitching. Still, she needed more help. She sent for 2 of her nieces. That did the trick. She and her 5 helpers stitched day and night until the flag was finished. When it was done, the flag was as large as a house. It was hung on a giant pole over the fort. You could see it from miles away. Here under the picture it says, a year earlier, the soldiers at Fort McHenry asked Mary Pickersgill to make a flag to fly over the fort. And there's a picture of the flag and of Mary. The British arrived later in the week. They sent troops to attack the city. But this time, the U.S. soldiers were ready. They stopped the British army. The British commander was killed during the attack. The British went back to their ships. They decided to attack Fort McHenry with their navy instead. Here is a flag like Mary Pickersgill flag flying over Fort McHenry.